Hello, Wealth Tycoons! Welcome back to our channel, where today we are going to talk about the well-known business chain throughout the world. Do you know Walmart makes more than $600 billion a year, which makes it the world's biggest business by sales? However, the story of how Sam Walton came to start the company is very interesting. It is the rags of riches kind of story that will inspire you to the core. Sam came from a poor family and grew up on a farm during the Great Depression. His boss once told him he was not cut out to work in retail. Still, he went on to make Walmart a huge business empire. This story is interesting and divisive at the same time. Some people appreciate how he built such a big business, but others see it as a story of corporate greed, full of scandals, bribery, and cruel ways to get rid of competitors. What scandals? What greed? Want to know all about Walmart and the man behind it? Then stay with us till the end of the video to find out. Let's get started. Sam Walton was born in Kingfisher, Oklahoma, on March 29, 1918. He came from a farming family that barely had enough money to live on. Sam began working to support his family when he was 8 years old. He sold magazine subscriptions and did small jobs like bringing milk. He even had rabbits and birds kept as pets to sell. But things got even worse when the Great Depression hit in 1929 and the family farm went out of business. To get a job, Sam's dad worked for an insurance company and had to collect on old farm loans that people couldn't pay back. It broke his heart to have to shut down small farms, even ones owned by friends and neighbors. From 1929 to 1931, Sam's dad had to take back hundreds of farms, which meant that hard-working people lost land that had been in their families for generations. Sam will always remember this event, so he made up his mind to make money and never waste it. In 1936, Sam got better with his money when he went to the University of Missouri. Getting into the service after high school helped him save money on tuition. He also worked as a waiter to get free food. His newspaper delivery business began when he was still in high school. By the time he graduated from college, he had hired a few helpers and was making over $4,000 a year from it. He was good at business. After finishing high school in 1940, Sam got a job at J.C. Penney in their program to become a manager, making $75 a month. But even though he was smart and worked hard, he was one of their worst workers. He didn't like doing paperwork, and his books were always a mess. His boss even told him he would fire him if he didn't do a good job in retail. Sam didn't give up, though. He worked long hours, 7 days a week, from early morning until late at night. When the U.S. joined World War II in 1942, things changed quickly for Sam. He was called up by the Army and ended up working as a military police officer at home instead of fighting abroad. That's when his life changed. There was a bowling alley where Sam met Helen Robson. Even though she was with someone else, Sam still went after her. They got married in less than a year after dating. Helen's dad was a wealthy banker and lawyer who wanted to help his new son-in-law. Helen's dad lent Sam $220,000 when he thought of opening a store. It was a huge help, even though it was a loan and not a gift. In 1945, Sam bought his first store with this loan and $5,000 he had saved. He didn't start from scratch. Instead, he bought a store in Newport, Arkansas that was already there. The chain of stores called Ben Franklin, which offered many different things, owned this one. It was hard for the store because it was not making as much money as its big competitor across the street. Also, the rent was very high. 5% of all sales, which Sam soon learned was the highest in the business. Sam knew he had to make big changes to fix things, even though he was only 27 years old and had never run a shop before. He chose to drastically lower prices. Sam started selling everything for less money instead of discounting some things and raising the prices of others. He thought that if he sold more things at lower prices, it would make up for the lower prices. It worked. If Sam bought something for 80 cents and then sold it for $1 instead of $1.20, he would make 3 times as much money. It makes less money per item, but more money altogether. It was hard for Sam to buy cheap things because of the rules of the business. He had to keep prices low. The franchisor, Ben Franklin, told Sam what goods to sell and made him buy most of them from Butler Brothers, their own bulk business, which charged a 25% markup. Sam didn't like how the Ben Franklin franchise rules limited his work, so he set out to find his goods. When he got home from work, he'd drive to faraway places like the Tennessee woods to meet with cheap wholesalers. He would put clothes for men, underwear for women, and anything else he thought might sell in his homemade trailer. He quickly ran out of these new cheap items when he put them in his shop. People rushed to his store to get the best deals because of the low prices and small profit margins. Word quickly spread. Sam also tried getting in touch with the companies that made the things that Ben Franklin's shops usually sold. He did not want the business to get the extra 25% commission. This made the owners of Ben Franklin unhappy because selling goods was a big part of their income. Because they were still getting 5% of Sam's sales, they didn't punish him right away. In Sam's first year, sales went up 45% to $105,000. The next year, they went up even more to $140,000. Sam was able to pay back the loan he gave to his father-in-law because the business was going so well. Bud, Sam's brother, came back from the war and started working with him at the same time. They worked long hours and did everything from sweeping the floors to putting things on the shelves. That's why they kept their prices low and went to other shops to see what they could learn or do better. When their rivals saw Sam's thorough checks and analyses, it often made them mad. Sam's store made $250,000 in sales by the 5th year, making it the best Ben Franklin shop in the area. With his creative ideas, Sam changed the shop. But just when things were going well, Sam's owner knew better than to renew his lease. Sam couldn't find anywhere else in town to move his store. There was no way for him to give the shop to his son. He had to sell it. He thought it was the worst thing that had ever happened to him. That didn't seem fair. 6 years of hard work had made Sam's shop the best in the area, but now he had to leave town. Sam and his wife also had 4 young children that they had to care for, so he needed to quickly decide what to do next. He chose to open a new store in Bentonville, Arkansas in 1950. With his family in tow, he moved there and got the right to work. Sam made sure he was in charge this time when it came to signing a lease. They agreed to a 99-year lease so that no one could take his shop away like they did before. Walton's Five and Dime is the name of his new shop. He had to find a way to let people know about his store since Bentonville was new to him. Many shops were closing down, so it was not the best time to open a business. Sam looked at his first job, a paper route, as he thought about how to get the word out. That made me think of something. He chose to buy the Benton County Daily Record, which is the town's newspaper. Sam could get almost free advertising for his shop since he owned the paper. He put a lot of ads in the paper, and soon everyone in town knew about Walton's Five and Dime. Sam often checked to see what other shops were doing. Suddenly, he learned that 2 stores in Minnesota were trying out something new: self-service. This was a big deal because customers didn't choose their things back then. People in shops would get everything for them, which took a long time. Sam took a 9-hour bus ride to Minnesota just to see what all the fuss was about. He was shocked by what he saw. People didn't need help from a cashier to grab their things and bring them to the front to pay. We take it for granted now, but back then it was a big deal. This was an idea that Sam quickly took back to his store. It made shopping faster and cheaper. Sam could lower his prices even more because he didn't have to hire as many people. This made him even more appealing to customers. Sam's pay tripled in just 1 year, but Sam was not happy with just one store doing well. His customers loved that he was always able to lower his prices. Now that Sam had more money, he opened more shops. He had 15 stores by the end of the decade. Some were Ben Franklin's businesses, and some were his own. He even bought an old broken-down food store and turned it into another Walton's Five and Dime. Not everyone was happy about how quickly Sam grew. His wife thought he was going too far too. She asked him one night why he had to keep getting bigger when the shops were getting farther away. She thought Sam was trying too hard and putting what they had built at risk. But Sam saw something bigger coming. Sam couldn't stop thinking about the big chance that was coming up. There were a lot of discount shops he wanted to open, mostly in small towns. He told his wife that he had no plans to slow down soon. Discount shops back then were usually small and in cities. Not all of their deals were discounted. But Sam had a different plan. He wanted to open bigger shops in small towns in the country where everything was cheaper. He came up with the idea of Walmart. Sam had to have a lot of money to carry out this big plan. He tried to work with several companies, including Butler Brother distributors, but no one was willing to take the chance. Walmart seemed too risky to them because they wouldn't make much money and had to pay a lot of money up front. Sam chose to take the chance on his own. People gave him money and he borrowed it from friends and any bank that would give it to him. He was able to open his first Walmart in Rogers, Arkansas in 1962 that way. It turned out to be a good idea to choose rural places. People were glad they didn't have to drive into the city to get cheap things. Sam kept learning from his rivals and even went to stores like Kmart and Sears to do so. He wrote down what the manager said because he didn't think Walmart was a threat. After all, it was too small. They didn't know that Sam would use what they told him later. In 1971, Sam opened 6 more shops and got 78 people to put money into Walmart. But what they didn't know was that Sam owed a lot of money, millions of dollars. Almost every bank in Arkansas and southern Missouri had given him money. He always paid on time, but many times he had to borrow money to pay another bank. There was not enough money coming in to keep the shops open and pay off the debt. His backers might have left if they knew, which would have been the end for Walmart. Sam was sure that his plan for a business would work. He just needed more money. But Sam had to find a way to get money quickly because his creditors were hounding him and he had no new sources of cash. That's when he thought about putting Walmart on the stock market. He was scared of losing control of the company, but he had no other choice. Walmart joined the New York Stock Exchange in 1972. Things changed for Walmart after that. That little team was no longer just a scrappy outsider. As soon as Sam paid off his bill, he went back to working out how to beat his rivals. To begin, he kept his stores open later than most and found small ways to save money, such as switching from wooden shelves to metal ones. People didn't care how Walmart looked. They loved the low prices, so the store kept growing. Sam opened 13 more shops the following year and 26 more the following year. Walmart's ruthless attitude helped it do well. Walmart would open stores in rural areas where there was not much competition. The smaller stores in those areas couldn't compete with Walmart's lower costs. Walmart was able to give lower prices because they bought directly from manufacturers and got better deals. This put many smaller stores out of business. Walmart was much better than small mom-and-pop stores. Walmart could get the same things for a lot less money, even if they got the same things. The smaller shops still couldn't beat Walmart's prices, even if they sold their goods for less than they cost. A lot of people said Walmart used predatory pricing, which means they lowered their prices on purpose to get rid of rivals, and then raised them once those competitors were gone. Walmart's father, Sam Walton, kind of said he did this, but he didn't think it was wrong. He thought that was how competition worked, and that it was a way to make prices go down for buyers. Walmart didn't make a lot of money right away, but they would in the long run if they could get all the people and put all their competitors out of business. It was also easy for people to shop at Walmart because it had big parking lots where people could park for free. Walmart opened about 100 new stores every year until it had 276 shops by 1980. Walmart grew so quickly in part because Sam was not afraid to open stores in small towns that other big stores didn't bother with. Walmart would open in towns with as few as 5,000 people, while most big stores wouldn't try with towns with less than 10,000 people. Other shops thought it was a waste, but Walmart saw it as a good idea. People already knew about the store, so they didn't have to spend much on ads in small places. It also made Sam focus on building Walmart's own warehouse and delivery system, instead of hiring someone else to do such work. A lot of money was spent on building it, but it helped Walmart grow quickly in the long run. Other stores began to use this method because it was so good. Sam went so far as to start Sam's Club in 1983, a service for other business owners to buy in bulk. Sam was also good at buying things straight from places like Central America, Korea, or Taiwan, skipping the agent and getting even better deals. The company got better deals as it grew because it could buy more in bulk. Walmart had more than 1,000 shops, 150,000 workers, and more money than any other store in the US by 1990. But things were not as easy as they looked. Walmart was growing so fast that it couldn't keep up. It got harder to keep its warehouses and transportation in sync with its new stores as it grew quickly. Some of the new stores looked empty and abandoned. People didn't like Walmart as much in the 1990s. Some people didn't like how the company helped small towns by closing down local shops. Walmart was able to buy a lot of goods at once and sell them for less money, so the smaller shops couldn't compete. The name for this effect is Walmart effect. The people who worked at Walmart were also unhappy. Low pay at the company made people angry, and more strikes happened. People didn't have many other job choices after Walmart took out all the local competition, so they had to take the low pay and bad benefits. Sam said that he didn't pay his employees much attention because he was so focused on keeping costs low. To boost confidence, he did little things like calling them associates and having them chant the company name at meetings. It was also very important to Sam that his workers didn't form groups. He did what a famous lawyer who is against unions told him to do and showed workers videos that warned them about unions and said they were crooked. Watch out for any talk of unions at Walmart. If a store seemed like it might join a union, managers would scare workers by telling them they would lose their jobs or the store would close. All of this was mean, but it was part of Walmart's plan to keep prices low for customers by cutting costs. It doesn't matter if you agree with Sam Walton's methods or not, he was very effective. It was making over $104 billion a year when he died in 1992 at the age of 74. That's pretty good for someone who came from a poor farm family. What would happen to Walmart now that Sam is gone? With 1.4 million employees, Walmart was the biggest private company in the world by 1999. But as Walmart got bigger, it seemed to be tougher on its workers. Walmart was sued several times in 2001. One of these was from store workers in Iowa who said Walmart tricked them into working extra hours without paying them extra. How? You're forcing them to work extra hours even though you gave them way too much work to do during regular hours. Walmart paid $1 million to settle the case in the end. In the 2000s, more and more workers and labor groups said that Walmart was mistreating workers and not paying them extra. In the documentary, Walmart, The High Cost of Low Price, employees talked about how Walmart would knowingly keep the stores short-staffed so that other employees would have to do more work. Some managers learned how to change workers' hours in the system so they didn't have to pay overtime. This was especially hard for workers who were already making minimum wage and needed the extra money badly. Around the world, things were even worse. It was found that workers at a Walmart supplier's plant in China were only getting 3 cents an hour, even though they worked 14-hour shifts 7 days a week. Walmart kept buying from these factories that looked like sweatshops so they could get things as cheaply as possible. Walmart worked on growing their business around the world with the extra money they had saved. But this made things worse. In 2005, someone who worked for Walmart in Mexico told the public that the company had paid off government officials to open shops quickly across the country. Documents showed that these payments added up to more than $24 million over many times. It wasn't just a few people. Top Walmart managers in Mexico knew about it and even tried to keep it from their offices in the US. Executives and lawyers at Walmart worked hard to hide it, and until 2012, it looked like they got away with it. Even with all of these problems, like the fact that their suppliers' factories were in bad shape, Walmart grew to be the world's biggest company by income and the biggest store in the US. But even though Walmart has been in some problems, it has also been a huge business success, especially because it's been able to keep prices low for customers. What are your key takeaways from the story? Tell us in the comments section below. If you enjoyed watching the video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.